What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to Injection of Inspiration, where every single Saturday I, Graham G.S. Matthews, give you your daily dose of motivational advice, helpful tips, all that other good shit right here on Injection of Inspiration. A lethal injection of inspiration, so to speak. Check out all the other episodes right here on the channel. I've been doing the show for the past 3, 4, 5 months. I appreciate all the feedback I get from you guys from the show. Thank you so much. Today, it's a topic I know that is very near and dear to my heart. Something I know very, very well. Something that has really become an important part of who I am in recent years. And I get it all the time. I do a lot of shit. Okay? I mean, when I say that, I keep myself busy. And I've talked about that before, and just, you gotta love what you do, and I love what I do, and I like to do things. I just like to be busy and whatnot. And people ask me, like, when do you ever sleep? And I'm like, I make time to sleep. Like, sleep to me, in my opinion, and again, just one 21-year-old's opinion. I know, just, you don't have to believe me. It's your own opinion. Everyone's entitled to one. But sleep is such an important factor of being productive throughout the day. Just, it's important, period. Really, without sleep, you're fucked. And some people I know can, they can go off of a couple hours of sleep. They can function off of sleeping for 2-3 hours. And everyone's different. You may not be that way. I'm certainly not that way. Maybe a couple years ago, I think my senior year might have been the worst it has ever been. And I'll talk about that in a second. I'll go back to that in a second. I want to go back to sophomore year of my high school career, not freshman year, sophomore year. So about 5-6 years ago at this point. I think it was for my Spanish class, of all things. The guy was just talking. I think the class was sleeping on a fucking Monday morning. What else is new in high school, college, whatever, school in general. But the teacher was like, you know what? Here's a good thing to try. If you're not getting enough sleep and you're going to sleep at like 12, 1, 2 in the morning and you're waking up at 5, 6 o'clock to catch the bus, driving to school, whatever else, and you're not getting enough sleep and you want to get more sleep, the key to doing so is going to sleep 50 minutes earlier tonight and then 50 minutes earlier the next night and so on and so forth. I guess that's one idea. I never tried that. And at the time, the bottom line being, when I first heard him say that, I'm like, dude, what the fuck are you talking about? That is no way going to work. I feel like I am wasting time and going to sleep a lot earlier. To me, going to sleep at like 8, 9 o'clock at night was just completely abysmal. That made absolutely no sense. And even today, I don't go to bed at 8, 9 o'clock unless I really have to get up early for something. And again, everyone's different. You might have a job that you have to wake up at fucking 3 o'clock in the morning for, so you have to go to bed earlier. In my opinion, and I'm no fucking doctor, I think 8 hours is enough. And you will hear different, amounts from everybody. And I'll talk about something else that I learned just recently. A lot of things I want to talk about here. I probably should have written all this shit down in a document. I just go off the top of my head with these shows. But I don't know. I feel like 8 hours is enough. I never heard 9 hours is the new 8, or you can function off of 5. You know what? Believe whatever the fuck you want. Whatever gets your ass up in the morning feeling motivated, something else I've talked about here on the show before a couple months back. That's all that matters. That's all that matters. And so I had read something in Ryback's book, which I talked about here on the channel, the Random Video Blog, again, a couple of weeks back. Reviewed it for the Random Video Blog. Very good book, by the way. It's a motivational, inspirational, self-help book. And I thought it was awesome. Not only because I'm a huge Ryback Reeves fan, but I thought a lot of the advice that he had to offer I thought was great. And not just wrestling-related stuff, just, motivational helps, tips. A lot of stuff that I talk about here on the show, quite honestly. But anyway, the bottom line being, he had brought up how he believes that in your mind, if you feel like in your mind that you got enough sleep, if you feel awake in your mind, you will feel physically awake, if that makes sense. Like, if you wake up in the morning after only getting 5 hours of sleep, and you tell yourself upon waking up, you know what, today is gonna fucking blow, because I didn't get enough sleep last night, I wanted to sleep in, I couldn't, I gotta wake up for this goddamn meeting, business meeting, school function, whatever the fuck else, work, then you know what? You're probably going to be tired. Taking a shower can help wonders, can do wonders for one thing. But not only that, but the mentality is really everything that I talk about here in the show, that's what it all comes down to, is your mentality, is your mindset. If your mindset fucking sucks, then your day's going to suck. How many times have I talked about that? You don't have to be a mathematician. You don't have to be a fucking rocket scientist to figure that one out. I'm a journalist major. Math is not my specialty. Yet I could tell you a common algorithm that works every single fucking time is that if you tell yourself you're going to have a good day, you're probably going to have a good day. Granted, shit will happen, but you can't let that shit get you down. But going back to the sleep part of all this, that's the whole common theme, the whole fucking topic of this video here today, is that if you tell yourself upon waking up, oh, you know what, I'm going to be tired, then you know what, you're going to be fucking tired. You got to wake up. You got to feel like, like Ryback says, wake up, it's feeding time, You got to feel energetic. You know what, you may say to yourself, you know what, I did not get enough sleep last night. That might be apparent upon waking up. You'll feel it physically. If it's affecting you mentally, that's one thing, which is also not good. But if it's affecting you physically, that's a fucking problem, because you're going to have issues at work, let alone driving. That's unsafe, not only for you, but for other people on the road that did nothing fucking wrong. So don't put other people at risk if you're that fucking tired, like driving late at night, and you might not have no other choice. But you got to plan ahead for this kind of stuff. But the point I'm trying to make is that if you wake up telling yourself, you know what, I'm a bit tired, but I'm still going to go head on to this day here today. I'm going to tackle everything with motivation, determination, and just fucking tackle everything head on, then today's going to be a good day. And you know what? That's just the way that it works. A couple of years back, almost exactly around this, this time period, I think it was this weekend 2 years ago, actually, now that I think about it, so perfect timing, I guess. WrestleMania weekend, which is next weekend this year, but 2 years ago, it was in late March, and as is every year, every single fucking WrestleMania season, for me anyway, and I'm sure for a lot of other people, is really, really busy. For me, I'm just doing videos, podcasts, articles, in addition to all the other school stuff I have due, and this is midterms right now. I had 2 papers due this past week, and I still have articles. I've put up an article every single fucking day since the start of the month, which is a new personal record for me. But the point being is that WrestleMania weekend, I was up late, super late. Late for me is 4 or 5 in the morning. And I'll stay up late that sometimes when I'm hanging out with friends. When John and I are together, and I'm sleeping over his house or something, we'll stay up until 4, 5, 6 in the morning playing fucking SmackDown versus Raw 2007 General Manager mode. That's just the way that we function, and we're fine. And I know I have nothing going on the next day, so I don't have to really worry about it. That being said, though, so that WrestleMania weekend 2 years ago, I was up super late both nights for the Hall of Fame. I would wait until that was over, and then just other shit going on both days. And I only got maybe 4 or 5 hours of sleep on Friday and Saturday night collectively, and Sunday too, because WrestleMania ran late. I had to stay up. I was talking to John on the phone about WrestleMania. I had written my review of WrestleMania. I was up till 3 o'clock in the morning. I had to get up for a 10 o'clock class. So I only got 4 or 5 hours of sleep. My voice was shot. And it wasn't until Monday that I started to it really started to hit me. Wow, I'm fucking tired. Because those previous days, I was, just junkied up on adrenaline, just like an adrenaline junkie, just kind of hyped up on excitement for WrestleMania and all this other shit. I didn't let it affect me mentally, so therefore it didn't affect me physically. But then, by the time WrestleMania was over, I'm okay, I really got to go to bed early tonight because I'm fucking tired. And I slept for 10 hours the next day. And I didn't have a class until 12:30 in my second half of sophomore year 2 years ago. So like I said at the start of the video, the worst that my sleep schedule was for me, and again, different for everybody, but I feel like this is also a common thing for seniors in high school, but there you go. It was really at its worst for me when I was a senior in high school. And it was different for me because I had to get up. I was getting up at the same time. I got up at 6 o'clock, I think, maybe 5:45, but I'm pretty sure it was 6 every day for school. But not just to catch a bus or whatever like I would in previous years. Around this period of time, in my senior year specifically, because I moved away from where my high school was, I moved to another town that was fucking 30 minutes away from my high school. And I didn't want to switch schools. That would have been just miserable, so I stuck with it. I stuck it through, and it was worth it. Fucking hated high school, but it would have been a lot worse had I gone to another school, have to start all over for one last year. Wasn't even worth it at that point. The point I'm trying to make here is that I would have to drive into school. Not me, I would have someone else drive me. I didn't have my license at that point. I would drive in for a half an hour, and when you're just sitting in a car doing nothing, You'll get this kind of feeling when you're sitting down on a couch watching TV or sitting in a car. That kind of stuff is relaxing. You'll fall asleep like that, within seconds. Not that I ever fell asleep, but I could feel myself, kind of going in and out of consciousness, and I wasn't even really paying attention. And thank God I wasn't driving. Could have been a lot worse. But every single time on my ride home back from school, I was always super fucking tired. I never took a nap. I still don't take naps. I'm a big believer in just getting the time that you need for your sleep. And everyone's different. That's another real message I want to send here. Just because you take naps, that's not a bad thing. I just personally do not believe in naps because I feel like it fucks up my sleep schedule. I'll just get more, sleep at night and get my 8 hours as opposed to getting 3 hours and sleeping for 2 hours during the day. I feel like that's a waste of my time and I could be doing other shit. That's just the way that I work. But again, everyone's different circumstances. I understand that. Nothing against that. But after senior year, it really wasn't until I got to college, of all things. And even my freshman year of college, I had classes of fucking 8 a.m., which at the time I thought was a blessing and, it was just amazing. Because I had classes, I had to get up at 6 every day for high school for 4 years straight. So I didn't pick my schedule freshman year, at least not for my first half. Long story. It was computer generated, all this other shit. But anyway, so having to wake up at 7, because I always give myself enough time to wake up in the morning, get ready, take a shower, eat something. I can't wake up 5 minutes before I have to leave and then go. I feel like I look like a piece of shit and I feel like a piece of shit. Not that, again, everyone's different. My roommate does that. He'll wake up literally 2 minutes before he has to leave, get dressed and leave. Sometimes just leave in the clothes that he's already wearing that he wore, falling asleep the night prior. I don't function like that. I can't. I need my, at least a solid hour before I end up leaving or going out or doing something, whatever. Just taking a shower, really just waking up, eating something, getting my energy, so on and so forth. And it would just get better every year that passed. I mean, that year it was a blessing, but looking back on it, it was better than high school, but it still wasn't ideal. 8 o'clock is the earliest you can have a class in college, at least here anyway, where I go. And at the time, it was great because it was better than high school. But even in, recent years and making my schedule for sophomore, junior, senior year, I'm thinking, fuck you. I am not taking 8 o'clock class. Fuck that. I am going to enjoy my time. I'd rather take a class at fucking 4:45. I took a class last year at 6:15 at night, in the evening, whatever. Some people have classes at 8. I mean, that's just the norm for some people. I don't work like that. That would fuck me up big time. 6:15 sucked. Or no, I had a class at 5 o'clock and it went until 6:15 and it fucking sucked. But I would rather have that any day of the week as opposed to an 8 o'clock class. And I'll talk about surviving school maybe next week or the week after. But the point being that you gotta get your sleep. It's super important. You will not be fully productive. You will not fulfill your full potential in the span of a day if you do not get your sleep. I used to fall asleep really at any day. It's so funny now because I feel like I go to sleep even earlier on the weekends than I do during the week. And it sounds weird, but I'll always give myself this threshold during the week. I will not fall asleep. I will not go to sleep at any time after 1:45. And 1:45 is pretty late. I will admit that. But at least I get my 8 hours. I don't have class until 11. So if I wake up around 9:45, give myself that hour to get ready and shit and eat something and then leave, that's all that matters. At least you get your 8 hours, If you don't have to be somewhere until 2 o'clock in the afternoon, maybe you'll go to bed, you'll go to bed later the next night or the night earlier, the night prior, whatever. But if you have to get up earlier, then you should probably go to bed earlier. Again, it makes sense. Everyone has other shit going on. People are really busy. I understand sometimes life gets in the way and you can't get that sleep sometimes. But if that's the case, then you have to mentally prepare yourself and tell yourself, I'm going to try to be active no matter what. And then try to catch up on that sleep as much as you can. I'm not a big believer in sleeping until fucking 12, 1, 2 in the afternoon. Again, I feel like a piece of shit at that point. I feel like I'm wasting time. Unless I really went to bed really, really late the night earlier because I was doing something, talking to someone, with someone, whatever, then I'm not going to, I'll wake up at 9, 10, 11 on the weekends at the latest. After getting my 8 hours. So, yeah, for me, I go to bed now at, even 11's early. Again, for a normal person, 11's late, but for me, that's fine because I don't have to get up anywhere in the morning, at least early in the morning. So I'll go to bed around, 1, 2 at the latest, 3 if I really have something to do, a paper or something, something super, super fucking important, an article or whatever. But other than that, I definitely go to bed a lot earlier now than I did when I was in high school. And in high school, it was hard to have a choice because, on Mondays that are raw, obviously, I would go to bed after the show was over, or then I would tweet about it, maybe write something. By the time I went to bed, it was 12 o'clock, whatever. And then I would have to wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning. So do the math, I got no more than 6 hours of sleep a night. And at the time, I thought that was fine. I didn't care about sleep. I didn't give a shit about it. But at the same time, I didn't really realize how much it was affecting my everyday activities. Like, I would be tired the next day at school. Like, like at Ferris Bueller's Day Off, when there's that one scene in the movie early on. Like, the guy's doing a roll call, and he's like, Ashley, Susan, Mike, and you just see the rest of the class, and they're fucking, like, tired as shit, and that one chick's, like, drooling on the table. Not exactly like that for me anyway, but I was fucking tired. That was basically me, on a scale from 1 to 10, maybe like a 5, but maybe not to that fullest extent. But still, that was essentially me in high school, with how tired I was, and I wasn't getting shit done. I didn't want to get stuff done because I was tired. But then I wouldn't go to bed earlier. Then on the weekends, I'm like, oh, just because I can't stay up late, that means I should, which is not true. And that was my mentality back then 4 or 5 years ago. I'm like, oh, I don't have to be anywhere tomorrow. I should stay up late. It's a Friday. It's a Saturday. I have no school the next day, which is not true. Like, again, like I said earlier, like now on Fridays and Saturdays and shit like that, unless I'm out somewhere, I go to bed earlier on Fridays and Saturdays than I do on during the weekdays, because I know I'd have nothing going on, and I'd rather wake up earlier the next day and just kind of tackle the whole day, and as opposed to waking up at 11, 12, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, I feel like a bum at that point. Again, everyone's different. I hate to keep on sounding like a broken record, but that's the message I'm trying to convey to you guys right here on Injection of Inspiration. So that wraps it up, guys, for today's episode on sleep. Hopefully you got something out of this 16, 17-minute tirade from yours truly. I'll be back next week, obviously, with another all-new episode of Injection of Inspiration. At that point, it will be up when we are in Orlando, Jason and I, for WrestleMania weekend. So fucking pumped for that. I'll obviously pre-record to get everything up and done. By that point, I'll post it when I'm at the hotel, wherever on Saturday next week. But in 1 week's time, it will be there, so maybe we'll talk about vacations and taking breaks and shit like that next week. It all ties in to WrestleMania weekend, I suppose. But that being said, guys, just have an awesome fucking weekend. Again, as they always say, wake up, look in the mirror, tell yourself you're awesome, because you are. I know you're awesome, know your worth, be awesome, stay awesome, and just have a great fucking week. So I'm Graham G.S. Matthews, and I'll catch you fine folks down the road.